And we're live. Hey, Jerry.
Hey, Sahana, how are you?
Doing well. Welcome to the very last webinar of the year.
Can you believe it? Can you
I
believe
can't
it?
believe it. This year definitely flew by. I know we say that for every year, but this year, Matt, our CDO, we were talking about how we both need a redo. Like, right?
I feel like, and from talking to friends, I feel like a lot of people have felt this. I feel like last year was like 10 years in 1 year, and then this year kind of got back to like time slipping quickly into the future. That was my sense anyway. Last year I was like, there's still another month left in this year. We've been through a lot. This year was sort of like, where to go? So,
We have really been through a lot. Hey, Nancy, thank you for joining us.
Nancy. So, I got a report here in case it affects me that I am currently
Yeah.
experiencing like a real live weather event, which adds an exciting aura to this end of year webinar. So where I am in the Upper Peninsula today, there are 70-mile-an-hour winds, 70 are the gusts. The waves on Lake Superior are about 30 feet. We've got branches falling out of giant old trees, and we've been told to maybe expect to lose power. So if I disappear, that's why. The house is sturdy. I'll be fine. But anyway, I can hear it whistling all around me. So
Yeah. So let's keep this one quick so we can get through all of this and
folks here can find shelter. No, we got a lot to talk about, but we'll keep it short and sweet. So
All right, so where do we begin? So this, for everyone who's joining us live, this is meant to be a recap, a quick recap of what we've done this year. This has been a massive year for us here at Regrid, and a quick glimpse into what to expect next year, and that is it. It's going to be quick and easy. So let's start there. So where should we begin, Jerry? How do we want to start?
gratitude. Always start with gratitude, right? I mean, it
Yeah,
has been, it's been an amazing year, and the reason why it's an amazing year is first off gratitude within the Regrid team for working so well with each other, and then just gratitude with all of our customers and site visitors and users, because I don't think it has to be this way, that you genuinely enjoy like working and collaborating with all of your customers and site visitors. But like every day when we wake up and there's new inquiries and new questions from new people, like it's just always so delightful,
yeah.
because the nature of the information that we provide about lands and buildings and the space of the US just brings in so many interesting people doing interesting things that it always keeps it fresh, and we have a good attitude about it. So I just have a lot of gratitude that we can have a good attitude and still be growing as a company, as a team, making the service better for people. So I don't want to overlook that. So
Yeah,
gratitude.
that's it. Absolutely. All right. And then moving on, we actually went through a pretty mammoth, massive landmark event this year. We
Yeah,
rebranded.
yeah. No, right? Because I was, I was thinking about it. I was like, what's the big thing from this year? And I was like, it shouldn't be hard to think of what was it. Then I was like, oh my God, we rebranded. That was this year. Okay, yeah, that was a massive project and thing for us. But the reason it didn't come to mind like immediately is because it seemed to happen so seamlessly,
Yeah.
right? Like the new identity as Regrid just kind of happened, and people embraced it and the team embraced it. And now we just have this great, tight, concise, like look, feel, and name that
Yeah.
it sounds funny that it was like, wait, that was in July. And of course that went back way before July, right? But July was
I
just the
know. We've
when
been
it
working on it longer, but yeah, but you're absolutely right. It happens seamlessly. Everyone's taken to it so easily. I mean, us, of course, but we were in the know for a while. But our customers, our partners, we've only heard good things. I think the new branding looks great. Do we want to, let's do a quick shout out to the folks who were involved in this.
Yeah, no, go ahead. Just start, because we did work with some awesome partners, and they're partners that people should know about and be credited for the work they've done on, how our stuff looks and feels.
We do have a quick question about how is Regrid fundamentally different from LandGrid? Are you asking how the name is fundamentally
No,
different?
I'll answer that one. I think the question is it's not a lot different. So it's like, we didn't the rebranding didn't represent any kind of like overall pivot in thinking or a different way of doing business. But part of the motivation, to just try to summarize it, because there's kind of like lots of thoughts and feels that go into it. Land parcels are obviously at the core of what we do, and we'll talk about this in a minute. You may have noticed that we added nationwide building footprints, and next year we're going to have additional data sets that all tie back to land and space of the land. But land was beginning to feel a bit limited in what we offered. And there was a lot of land plus something kind of like names out there. So we wanted to have something fresh. And then we also wanted to have something that spoke to like revisiting or returning to or redoing or kind of rethinking, because it's definitely in our plans to like increase the rapidity of the things that we update and to give a bigger picture of like how things change over time. And so all those kind of came together into a desire to not have two names that we used, Loveland Technologies, LandGrid. So it all came together in Regrid, and an opportunity for us to just freshen things up. You know, like I think when you work on something for a long time, you kind of build up a long tail, even stuff that's as simple as like the copy that's on your website, right? Like just all these messages you have. And so this was like kind of like a big spring cleaning for us. And this is a great question actually related to the rebrand. We just published a blog post on regrid.com/blog that talks about the rebranding process, and it gives credit and shout outs to a couple of our major partners in doing that.
Yeah.
One is a design firm out of Cleveland called Agnes Studio that really helped us like think through from first principles, like what are we trying to accomplish? Where do we want to be in the future? How are we coming across to people? And so they helped with like look, feel, some of the messaging conversations that we had. And then a great illustrator out of Chicago named Meg Studer, who's been doing these kind of like theme and variation kind of parcel illustrations and building footprint illustrations and increasingly other kinds of landy stuff. So I'll shut up about it, Sahana. I'm talking too much.
Yeah.
That's a lot of the why, trying to condense it down. Yeah.
No, we just put the link to that blog. Jerry wrote that blog. We published it this week. You can find the information of the two firms that we worked with. Really talented folks, and it's their work that you see, you know, sparsed everywhere on our site. And Paul, look, I answered your question in the poll as well, but we're essentially the same. You know, nothing changed, just the name changed. So LandGrid data, the data is the same data, just gotten better over time because we did a lot of work on it this year, as we do every year. But the team behind it, the products, all same, yeah. Just new brand identity.
And I'll say, because I know like staying the same sounds kind of like boring, although that is like was true that it didn't represent a deviation. But I think like where you'll start to see some of the differences coming out is in like 2022 and 2023, as we work towards adding some additional data sets that I think you all will be interested in. Data sets for like just our data users, but then also things inside of like the app, both the mobile app and on the web app, that I think are going to start to bring us into new directions that are all still built off the land parcels, but that'll make you go, whoa, I didn't know they were doing that, right? So it was kind of tied up in like being a little bit more ambitious about the future. So yeah. And Clay, thank you for saying that too. I know we said it went well, but it's always nice to hear.
Yeah, it's always nice.
Yeah, I've heard that too. That's you know, it's I guess easy for us to say, right? So
yeah, and thank you, Meg, for adding all the links. Meg, our content marketer, is helping us, manage all the questions. So please keep the questions coming. I think that's a perfect segue because you mentioned, new things coming in 2022 and 2023. I think we should just quickly talk about the new products that we launched. So I know there was a new name and identity, but we weren't so slow on the roadmap either. So we actually launched a bunch of products. One that was recently launched was, I think, one of our milestone product launches. Let's quickly talk about our Parcels Plus Match Building Footprints product that we launched end of Q3. This was something that was in the making for a while. We've had a lot of people ask about this. Parcel data being so foundational, we've often found that most customers that work with location data of any sort require parcel data, nationwide parcel data, but they also end up using a bunch of other spatial data sets in addition to parcel data because, you need a bunch of different data points for whatever use case or project you're working on. And building footprints was something that we have worked with in the past. We do have it as a layer on our site, but this was an opportunity that we wanted to provide as one combined product. An entire nationwide 156 million building footprints data set that we worked with a partner, Define, to get that data. This is data derived by aerial imagery. That's why it's 156 million building footprints, a lot more in the number of footprints that they've derived. And we matched it and provided it as a pre-joined combined product to our customers. So it's two massive spatial data sets, all from one source, curated, standardized, pre-joined, matched. So it takes down the amount of work that our customers have to do with it. The ETL, the matching, all of that guesswork is taken out and like taken care of by us. And we provided it as one product. This was a big product, required a lot of engineering work at our end. But it's actually fared really well because we realized that there was a demand for this. People asked for this, and there is. People do need this.
Yeah, it's been awesome to bring it together. It still blows my mind sometimes, how large the data set is that we brought together with the land parcels, and then to match that with like genuinely every building footprint in the U.S. currently outside of Alaska and Hawaii, but everything on the mainland area. And just the process for how that gets done too. I think it speaks to like having great partners in the space, and for our team to have both like the technical competence to do these things and the vision to do them, but then also just like the right attitude to work with partners. Yeah. So the team at EarthDefine has just been awesome to work with, and we recommend that you do check out earthdefine.com as well. I like the complementary nature of how like the data sets get created too. So in the case of the parcel data, it's like our data team rotating around the 3,200 counties in the US, downloading stuff, organizing it, cleaning it, standardizing it, collecting public record facts, and then augmenting them with other things. And in the case of EarthDefine, they're Sahana said, like they use nationwide aerial imagery, and then they're essentially using like machine learning algorithms, smart stuff that can assess what's in a picture and doing really accurate outlining of every building in the country, whether that's a big apartment building or a skyscraper or a house or a garage or a shed or whatever the case may be. And then really marrying those things and together into one easy to use, much more economically accessible product is like an example of more of the things that you're going to see from us in 2022. And Sahana, is now a good time to jump to like talking about addressing as the next thing as well. It just kind of feels complementary, I feel like. Right?
Yeah, I think in our quest to add additional location context, like more context, that's what we've been doing. We launched our nationwide land use codes early this year, and that was like what the first step into adding more context, right? More location context. There's parcel data, and now we're adding additional context on top of it. So that was the land use codes, and then we did that with building footprints, again, additional location certainty. And in our quest to continue to do this, I think it's safe to say that announce this now because it is coming up pretty quickly, is one of the first things that we'll be launching in the new year is a match secondary addresses. So essentially all of our parcel data and situs address, which is the primary address of the parcel, but matched with all the secondary addresses, So essentially all known addresses within the country will be provided as one combined product in the new year. So stay tuned with us. That's coming up pretty quickly as soon as we regroup after the holidays. But
and again, it just kind of blows my mind. I mean, just because it is kind of mind blowing. So then you think so you've got every parcel of land in the US, so every boundary for every property that's been subdivided for ownership and taxation and use and all of that stuff. And then every building footprint that sits on those parcels. So you can start to see like something is not only what piece of land is something on, but like, does that land have a building? Is it adjacent to that building? How far from the building? Is the building occupied? Is it a house? Is it a business? All these kinds of things. But then this additional layer of secondary addresses, and this is kind of like, I would definitely call this like a nerdy point for a lot of people. Like it takes a second to like even get like what is that about? Because in parcel world, you usually get like one address per parcel, usually, not all the time, but like usually it'll be like the taxable address for that parcel. But then, as we all know, if there's a building that's an apartment complex or a shopping mall or a duplex or whatever the case is, there can be 210, 200, I don't know if there's 2,000, right? But like, I don't know, probably, I don't know, addresses that ride along with that too. So being able to provide as a product something that has land, buildings, all address delivery points as a base layer that can be, as a base layer of data that's all unified and standardized and cleaned up to work with, that can help give new insights from anything, any data set that has a location can be matched against this to learn a lot more. So, and you'll be seeing more besides the addresses too. That's the next one that's coming up fairly quickly.
And if any of this sounds interesting or familiar, if you're working on a project that requires these things, these data points, please reach out to us at parcels@regrid.com. We are actually learning, we're trying to learn more about the use cases that we could solve with these products. So please tell us your stories.
And I see that the Nancy asked about the PLSS, the Public Land Survey System. we don't have that currently on our roadmap, but I know that that's something we could plug in for when it's useful. For those who don't know it, it's the giant square mile grid underlying kind of like original US land system that a lot of, well, pretty much most towns, counties, boundaries kind of nestle into. So, and in some cases like Alaska, because our goal is to try to fill everything in next year, this may just be straight PLSS or the only parcels in some of those census areas. So we'll see.
All right.
And Sahana, do we want to talk? I know we don't want to take too much longer here. We want to keep it short and sweet, but maybe we can talk data with purpose for a minute and then kind of like resolve on here. So those of you who followed our work over time know that we consider Detroit to be like a co-founder of the company, just sort of like listening to the things that needed to be done in Detroit from a community level, from a governmental level. How do you understand the space of the city? How do you help real people solve real problems? Like, how do you get down to like sort of the grassroots of doing good with data? And as our business has grown, we've not wanted to lose that thread. So we have a program that we sort of soft launched this year called Data with Purpose. We've got a page on the site, which is regrid.com/purchase. And it's basically set up so that any nonprofit, which, we use to define like actual 501c3s, but also just community groups, academia, governmental departments, even anything that's not a business that's wants to use data, needs to use data to advance public understanding of issues related to land or housing or things that tie back to the landscape that we can help service. We made it really easy for people to reach out to us and say, here's what I need, here's what I'm trying to do, and then importantly, like, these are the resources I actually have to do it. So more of like a pay what you can kind of a basis where someone from the team will look at your request, talk to you, and then make sure that we're providing you services at a price point that actually works for you, and having the flexibility to do that. And that's something that we look forward to putting more at the forefront in 2022. And also, like, in addition to like responding to those who reach out to us, kind of like taking the time on the team to think about like, well, what are the biggest sort of like public good nonprofit projects related to land conservation and housing and climate change, et cetera, and be more proactive reaching out to get data to those efforts. So that's something we're really excited about as well.
Yeah, and we are going to be launching this early next year. So if you are aware of projects that could actually be a part of this program, please let us know. We will be putting a shout out and call out for projects as well early next year. Should we just take a quick minute to talk about the end of year report? So just yesterday, so every year we put together this nifty little report that we call end of the year Regrid parcel data report. It's basically us looking back at our parcel data and how it's grown over the course of the year. And we release all of the KPIs like the parcel age, the county age, the median age, how many counties we refreshed, how many counties we added, how many new parcels we added. So it's as transparent as it can get. I want to share it. If you will find the link to this everywhere, Meg, if you don't mind putting it, thank you so much. But I want to just quickly share what this looks like so you can all go ahead and take a look at it. And if you have any questions, please feel free to reach out. You're able to see my screen, right?
You can see it just fine.
Perfect. So yeah, so this is how it is. It's a nifty little report. It has pretty much every stat and KPI we could think of, all the new things we added and improved, in terms of coverage, in terms of, new layers and data points that we introduced into our schema this year, including crop data layer, how many times we refreshed things, what territories we added. It also talks about building footprints and our API and tile server improvements. So whenever you get a chance, please take a quick look at this, and we want to hear from you. So please reach out to us if you have any questions. But yeah, this basically is a testament to the work that's gone behind our data, our incredible data team that works tirelessly. And I think this report proves that literally tirelessly every year. In improving the data, and our data has gone from strength to strength. And with the things that we have on our roadmap next year, I can only imagine where we'll be at this time next year.
Yeah, it's really tough to say because at this point we're so far down the road of doing this that there's like a real reason why anything we're missing has been tricky. Including in many cases stuff is just not digitized yet, and the team is just really has a, we've got. a very strong desire to just like, let's just finish the work of mapping all of this in the US. Why is this not done? Like, even where it's not digitized, like, what do we need to do to roll up our sleeves and get involved to like help make that happen? So I can't fully call the shot on this one and say that'll entirely be done in the smallest of the small and the strangest of the strange cases, but like it's we're not resting on that front. It just feels like it needs to get done. It's just an obvious thing to figure out. So we're spending a lot of time kind of figuring out what do we actually need to do? What paper plat books do we need? Where do I need to drive and bring out a tape measure and
That'll be a good.
Probably not that far, but you know what I mean. Like we want to go all the way on that. So.
So think bigger, better, more on the 3 C's that we call here at Regrid: currency, coverage, and completeness. I think that is it. So we'll be back next year. Our team is, taking a little bit of a break for the holidays, but we are around if you ever need anything from us. Email us at parcels@regrid.com, and we'll be back in the new year with new launches, new updates. And thank you for another fabulous year, Jerry.
I hope you guys all get to have a restful, relaxing end of year. I know it's not always the case. Life provides curveballs for all of us, but if you can get it and you need a little more permission to take it and rest up. And we'll catch you guys in the new year if we don't interact with any of you individually before that.
Roman's asking about Regrid merch. Let's take it offline.
See, look, our team is so thirsty for the Regrid hoodies. They're now approaching us in the end of year webinars. We got you, Roman. We got you.
Very soon. All right. Happy holidays, everyone. Thank you all for joining.
Happy holidays, guys. Bye.
Bye.